Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and both of you have given very thoughtful answers on a number of issues. Let me start with you, if I could, Ms. Raskin, and I wasn't going to start with this, but you obviously have earned great bouquets for your efforts to try to bring people together. And that obviously is a skill in short supply here in the nation's capital, if you look at the events of the last couple of months. So for purposes of kind of starting it, do you have any thoughts on how you might, in this position, help to bring people together for pro-growth tax reform? And particularly pro-growth tax reform that would help encourage investment in people. Because it's very clear to me that one of the premier economic issues of our time is underemployment. We've got millions of workers who are underemployed. We're talking about people who perhaps made $25 an hour a couple of years ago and now are maybe making half of that, possibly even less. So I've been very pleased that Senator Sarbanes and Senator Cardin have been talking about how you have a background of bringing people together, and that is sure useful on these big issues like tax reform. Tell me a little bit about how that bringing people together set of skills could be used, particularly on tax reform, and especially on how pro-growth tax reform could encourage investments in people.
Well, thank you, Senator Wyden, and I want to start by saying I enjoyed our conversations earlier exactly on these topics, and you gave me a lot to think about. These are incredibly important set of issues. I think that I applaud you for your focus on pro-growth tax reform. I think tax reform does have the potential to be pro-growth. I haven't had the chance to delve into the details of tax reform in my role as a Federal Reserve Governor or as Commissioner of Financial Regulation. But my instincts are that a simpler tax code and a tax code that essentially addresses issues regarding competitiveness could do a lot towards increasing growth in this country. And in particular, you note the problem of underemployment. And you're exactly correct. I mean, the data show, the anecdotes support that many of the jobs that have been created are not jobs that people actually want to have. They are not full-time jobs a lot of times. People are sometimes cobbling together different part-time jobs, and the data shows this. And the question, I think, for the long-term growth of our economy is whether a pro-growth pattern can be sustained when you have many people who are underemployed. And I think that this is a particular cost and feature of our labor landscape right now in the recovery. And again, I look forward to working with you to figure out ways in which we can address it.
I am especially interested, going back to the skills of bringing people together and following up further on your ideas for how that could be done. I mean, what happened in 1986, and all of us here have been looking back at the lessons of 1986. And this is a different time. There are different challenges, but there are some lessons there. And for example, in 1986, Democrats were very interested, rightfully so, in going after some of these ridiculous special interest tax breaks. Republicans said, we're interested in approaches that particularly promote economic efficiency in the private sector. So there were a variety of ways to bring people together. You have skills in that particular space. They are much in demand. I want to talk to you more about those kinds of approaches. Let me just turn to you with one quick question, Ms. Schmidtlein, and obviously you have terrific credentials. My colleagues were talking about the trade laws. You have expertise, particularly, as I understand it, in the AD/CVD statute space, and that's very important for a whole host of issues. We're concerned about it as it relates to renewable energy, a variety of different areas. Tell us a little bit about what you see as the value of those statutes and how you can use them, again, to help pry open more opportunities for us to generate good-paying jobs in the private sector.
Thank you, Senator Wyden. As you said, I agree. These are incredibly important statutes, and what they do is they provide an opportunity for U.S. businesses and workers to level the playing field if they are facing unfair trade practices. And so, and that's the purpose of them. So if they are and they can get a remedy to level that playing field, then companies can compete to the best of their ability, which can obviously have the impact of creating jobs and preserving jobs.
I intend to support both of your nominations. I thank you today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.